Hello and welcome to episode 2 of The Warden. This is Small Game Adventures and I am Mootle. So we're jumping straight into depth 6 here with our Warden. We've just beat Goo. There's always a shop on depth 6, so if it's not in one of the 2 doors around you or 3 doors around you or however many doors around you, have a little search and you'll find one. In the shop we're basically just going to sell a bunch of different stuff that we've picked up. Inventory management becomes a bit of a problem from about here onwards. And we're going to pick up our seed pouch, which is really important. To reduce the amount of stuff we've got in our inventory, and all of these unidentified red potions, which we know are potions of healing. So not identifying those potions of healing in the first 5 depths is really handy, because it costs less to buy an unidentified potion than it does to buy an identified potion. So we now have a bunch of those healing potions sitting there ready to go. A couple of things that you'll come across on depths 6 to 10 are the different enemies. Now, contrary to depths 1 to 5, you'll encounter most of the enemies on this first depth. I don't think you find null shamans on the first depth, but the rest of them you will. The first one you come across is a skeleton. Skeletons have 25 HP and they do between 3 and 8 attack damage. The special abilities of the skeleton are they blow up when you kill them, so they do a bit of damage there. The higher armor you have, the less damage that'll do, so that can be handy, having some armor up and running, but that damage can be quite significant sometimes, so that can be a bit of a pain. It does damage the things around it though, so other enemy mobs will get damaged by that as well. The second one that you'll find is the thief. Thieves have 20 HP, they do between 1 and 7 attack damage per hit, and they attack twice as fast as you, and this is using knuckle dusters of course. Thieves' special thing is that they steal something out of your inventory if they land a hit on you, and then they run away. Now they will aggro back onto you if they go into a dead end. Other than that, you basically have to chase them down. Now notice we found 2 rings here. They're both cursed. I didn't mind running into them and just chucking them on, because we know that there's a shop here with a scroll of remove curse. So we're going to go ahead and use that here so that we can get rid of those cursed rings. Now you can wait around if you know what they are. If you don't know what they are, you can wait around and identify them by using them. That can sometimes be useful, sometimes not. With the rogue class, obviously it's identified automatically, so that's kind of cool, but we don't really need to know what they are at the moment, so we're just going to get rid of them right now. The other mob that you're going to find in the prison levels here are the fly. Now flies have 80 attack, 80 health, but they only do between 1 and 4 attack damage. Now the fly's special thing is that it will actually multiply. If you hit it with a physical attack, magical attacks don't do it, but physical attacks will actually produce a duplicate of that fly. So if the fly is burning, the duplicate will be burning. If the fly is at half health, the duplicate will be on half health. Flies do drop health potions, so you can actually farm flies. If you take off your high damage dealing weapon and just hit them with your fist a lot, you'll get a whole bunch of multiples of flies, and that's be very handy. Now notice there I was trying to use a boomerang trick by attacking miles away. That was explained in episode 1.5, a little filler. But notice it didn't work there, so obviously to do that boomerang trick you have to be trying to target an activatable square twice as far away, and if we're on the edge of the map, those squares that we're trying to target aren't actually activatable, they're outside of the map range. So just something to keep in mind there. The boomerang tricks are really good, but not always very useful. So I've just used Lloyd's Beacon here to get back to the shop. I tend to use Lloyd's Beacon, I just place it right next to the shop in water. If I'm on fire I can teleport straight to it and go off fire, and otherwise it's just really handy to be able to teleport straight to the shop and sell stuff whenever we need to. There is a whole bunch of other tactics you can use with the Lloyd's Beacon to use it actively, but I'm not going to need that for the Warden. It's normally if you're using range, so if you're a mage or a sniper class huntress, the beacon can be really useful, kind of teleporting and zipping around different mobs and escaping them and all that kind of fun stuff. There's a whole bunch of different tactics that we can do on Lloyd's Beacon, but we won't do that just now. It's probably another entire tutorial series, I guess. Very cool. The other thing that we'll come across now that we're on the depth 7, not 6, is the Null Shaman. So the Null Shaman has 18 HP, does 2 to 6 melee attack damage, but also has a lightning ranged attack, which does between 2 and 11 damage. And that will actually do more damage to you if you're standing in water, obviously because it's lightning. So that's really nasty. They're really easy to kill, they're not doing much damage to us, but that ranged attack is really nice. You have to watch out for that. So we're a bit of a crisis here. We're starving. We've got no health left. There's a mob here. We're going to open our inventory, like I said. We're going to use this fade leaf. We probably could take out this thief, but we don't want to risk it. So a fade leaf will actually just teleport you somewhere somewhere randomly on the map, which is kind of handy. And because of course with a Huntress we get that bark skin buff when we stand on it. So we're going to tuck down our sungrass seed here, heal up a bit. We got teleported into an empty room, a room with just a shaman in it, which is pretty handy. It was a good mob spot for us. If we'd been teleported to the other side of the room, that could get difficult because that shaman will actually do a whole bunch of extra damage to you. That ranged lightning damage is really nasty. They coincidentally also have lightning resistance, I think. They're not immune to it, but lightning attacks don't do as much. So if you're using a wand of lightning, that won't work as well on a null shaman. Similarly, a firebolt won't work on fireballs in the dwarven city depths, but we'll get to those eventually. So those are the 4 different types of skeleton seeds, flies, and null shamans, what you're going to come across in these depths. And we're basically just using all of our normal tactics. So kiting through doors, using our boomerang whenever we can. We're not upgrading our boomerang, you'll notice that. If we're a sniper, we'd definitely be using that, and we can, because we're 100, we can equip our boomerang as a melee weapon if we want to, but we're not using any of those just because the Warden is more of a tanky character, so you play her very similar to how you would play like a berserker or something there. Notice how we're letting our weapon get right down in degradation before we upgrade it. With the introduction of degradation, both weapon and armor degradation, the way you use your upgrade scrolls, your enchantment scrolls, and your weight stones are really important now, because whilst it's tempting if you have all of them to use them all straight away, that's not always a good idea. So I could go +1 fire and balance for speed all in one go, but then my weapon might degrade and I'd be left with, you know, a +1 balance for speed weapon that's not enchanted anymore. So if I use them all periodically as my weapon degradation goes down, I get to keep all of those fun attributes of my weapon instead of losing some of them. I believe, and I'll probably have to check up on this, but I believe your enchantment will go before your level, which is, I mean, that's handy. It's a good thing. So if you've got a level 5 flaming sword and it degrades, you'll now have a level 5 sword that's not flaming anymore. It's kind of handy. These chests, I swear, they always freak me out. I don't know what patch they got introduced in, but I started playing and I was like, oh my goodness, there's the chest checking me. It was terrifying. You'll still actually see a null scout every now and then from, I think it's only depth 8. I think depth 8 is the only one that you'll find a null scout on, because its level indicator, at least in the wiki, says it's 2 to 4 and 8, which is kind of really strange. Again, I'm going through looking at, you know, is this level looking big enough? No. Finding some invisible doors, that kind of thing. We found a grass room here, which is really handy. You'll see that we actually got a sunroot plant that we've just found here. They do spawn sometimes along with honeypots in these grass rooms, and you can use them like health potions, so you don't always need to use them straight away. I was running a bit low on health there, and I'm still starving, so didn't really have any qualms using it straight away then. But you can save those for later. They're pretty much a health well. Those rooms, they are dark when you walk into them, as you can see, kind of hiding everything. If there's an enemy in there next to you and you aggro on it, the whole room will light up to allow you to see a little bit better. So now we're having inventory problems again. It's a bit of a pain. Found some flies, some skeletons. This sword's being all sons of awesome, which is kind of cool. We've got to try and start optimizing what we want to actually have in our inventory. We should probably be either throwing away some of these armors or identifying some stuff. Now this is a null. The shaman, using his ranged attack, we're standing on water, we're in trouble. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw a bomb at him. Again, this is that crisis management thing. Just open your inventory, see what you've got. We could probably get away with using a Lloyd's Beacon then, but we didn't really need to. We're just going to throw the bomb down and let him die for us, which is always very nice. Using that weight stone just to get rid of inventory space, but we didn't need to right then. Again, the weapon wasn't at full degradation, so it was a bit of a mistake there, but we're feeling pretty good about our weapon and our state of affairs at the moment, so we can afford to take a few risks, I guess, not playing perfectly. One of these potions should be a flaming. So again, if we are on a depth and we need a flaming potion, it will be there somewhere. So we didn't know which one it was. We didn't have an identifier there, so we're just going to drink the potion outside the door, and that'll still catch on fire. You can also use a flame seed to do that if you want, but we needed to identify that potion at some point, so we may as well do it then. This is the old wand maker here, which is kind of a fun little NPC. Again, he'll give you one of 2 quests, either to find a rotberry seed or get some corpse dust. So a corpse dust is pretty easy to find. You just find a skeleton somewhere. It's similar to Hero Remains. You activate the skeleton, wraith pops out, kill the wraith, pick up the corpse dust and bring it back to him. The other one is a rotberry seed. You'll find a plant that will get spawned somewhere in the map, the rockberry plant. You activate that. When you activate the rockberry plant, it actually releases toxic gas, so you probably don't want to be in the room when that happens. And if you walk on it, it will actually root you, so you'll be stuck with poison gas. And if you pick up the rockberry seed, it will let out a call, a challenge call, and try and persuade everything around you to come and kill you, which is a bit of a nasty little trick actually. That can take you for surprise if you haven't got that quest before. So the best way to counter it is actually just to throw something on the bush and then run away and come back a little bit later. So we'll chuck some rations down there, run away, wait for the toxic gas to dissipate. It doesn't actually take as long to dissipate as if you threw a potion, but long enough that it's a bit painful here. So we're going to open up our second quick slot here, which I didn't have activated for some strange reason. It was a bit silly of me, so I can have some bombs there. Now we found a warhammer on this statue, which is kind of fun. You can see what's on a statue by clicking the question mark button on it, and it lets you tell you what weapon it's got. Now I didn't really want to fight a statue with a warhammer, so I've chucked down one of those confused seeds, and he's running around in circles. So we used a couple of bombs and just wailing on him with that +2 boomerang there, which is kind of fun. Nice to have that infinite ranged attack to keep on hitting me over and over again. So that +2 warhammer is extremely useful. We'll probably start using that instead of our longsword. Longswords are good. You can finish the game with that tier weapon. It's the second highest tier, the longsword. So it's more. We could definitely keep on using our longsword here instead of the warhammer, but because we're only on depth 9, the warhammer is probably a good one to start dumping things into. It's a better weapon, really. Is how it goes. It will do more damage. You'll get more oomph out of your upgrade scroll, so that's pretty handy to have. Notice we're running into inventory problems here, which is something that always happens to me. So just dropping random bits. This is really, really fun. Trap rooms where the entrance is actually blocked off. The mobs won't attack you, so the skeletons are sitting there. We won't get hit by their explosive death. And that's really, really handy for us. Notice how that top skeleton was actually standing on a trap, and that activated when he dropped his javelins that he dropped. That will sometimes happen if you're in a trap room and there's a mob standing on a square that looks like it might have a trap under it. You can actually throw an item onto that square and it will activate the trap and possibly do damage to the mob. Mobs don't activate traps by standing on them if they're not identified, but if they are identified, then they'll avoid them automatically. So it's a bit of a strange, I wouldn't say glitch there, but it can be a bit annoying sometimes that you're like, oh yeah, he walked over that, you walk over the same thing, and yeah, you get got. So we've got to go pick up this rockberry seed and promptly forget that we have it because we're fools. Yeah, you watch, I'll just go straight to the down depth. The wand maker will give you the choice between either an offensive wand or a supportive wand when you complete his quest. It's really up to you what you get. I tend to go for, unless I'm playing the battle mage, I tend to go for a defensive ward, so a supportive ward. I've already got my ranged weapon, my boomerang, so I don't really need another one. And I love my seeds, my potions, scrolls, and wands. Just give you a bit more like utility. So all your utility items are really, really handy. Notice we've still got all of our health potions sitting there. We've got 7 of them, unidentified, which is kind of really handy. If we can manage to beat Tengo, again, we can pick up a whole bunch of really cheap unidentified potions at the next store. But as you'll see in a minute, we're not going to do that because we're an idiot. We being me. Again, I use my Lloyd's beacon there just to teleport back to where I'd left the items. We're going to chuck as many items as we can at this down ramp so that we can come straight back and pick them up once we've beaten Tengo and at the shop. So we've got a bunch of items just sitting here waiting to go. Tengo is the boss that you're going to find on this depth. He's behind a locked door. He's a ninja, so he uses ranged attacks, and he'll teleport around if you're attacking him from right the stair next door. I'm going to make a massive mistake here and decide to try and take him on using ranged, and I'm going to make every mistake in the book. I'm warning you now. Chucking down a sungrass seed, which is fine. It gives me that bark skin, but because I'm going to actually eat some food and heal up first here, which is a bit of a mistake, the sungrass seed won't actually activate the sungrass buff, which is an interesting mechanic. If you're full health, you won't get that health bonus. If you're not full health, though, standing on that sungrass seed can be similar to standing on earthroot, because you will get health regen every 4 or 5 turns or so, which is kind of handy. It's handy to have. We're mostly using it for our bark skin buff. So again, that was a bit of a mistake, me standing on it with full health. And the second major mistake is using a +2 boomerang on Tengu. Now, Tengu isn't too hard to kill, he hasn't got too much health, but a +2 boomerang is not enough damage. Again, another mistake, I tried to tuck down a seed, and you can activate plants using your Wand of Telekinesis that we've got from the World Wand Maker, but you do need to have him standing on top. So obviously the Telekinesis activated the seed and pushed him away at the same time, which is kind of counterproductive. Now we've used our first health potion, we're going to use a couple more. We have plenty of them, so we're not really too worried here. We still got that full dew vial, so not too many problems. We finally resorted to melee weapon damage, which we really needed to do. Again, having the dew vial is really handy, but don't use it. The only time that dew vial should ever go off is if you're surprised or if you're out of health potions. So I hope that was a bit enlightening. That's, I guess, a 101 of how to not fight Tengu. Horrible form there from me, but we managed to get through it with that amount of health potions. If you have enough health potions, you can finish this game quite easily. No problems there. I hope that was interesting. I hope you learned a little bit there. Hope it was enlightening. The next one is the cave depths with some vampiric bats, which are a pain. The DM300, which is even worse. So that'd be a bit exciting to see what we do with that. Until then, keep playing and enjoy. Hope that was useful.